I didn't do the countdown this time, so we're just going to go live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. Guys, we did not do the intro, so it kind of threw us off our game a little bit here. And so, yeah, welcome to another episode. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy it. Let me just tell you, unfortunately, we don't have Brant with us today, but we do have a shit ton of news to talk about, and a lot of it is DC. So if you're fans of DC and DC Fandome and DC movies and all that other stuff, man, you're going to get your money's worth tonight. That is for sure. So, of course, as always, next to me, I have Cat Comic Uno, and we're just going to break it down for you guys, and we're just going to go all out. So are you ready for this one, Cat?
I am ready. Yeah, this is going to be definitely an exciting episode to talk all things comics and media. So we're actually going to start with the comics, but I really feel like every section kind of has some big news. So look forward to that. I'm guessing we'll probably leave like the Batman trailer for last. But this is interesting. Aquaman is going to get a title. So that means there's going to be multiple Aquamen in one title. So you have Robins there. I feel like there was another title that was recently announced where it's going to be like the multiple characters. I'm trying to think what else, but Robins is the one that comes to mind. Batgirls you have. So now you have Aquamen. So
this is a comic. This is comic book.
Yeah, this is a comic book. So I'm guessing after the maxi series of the Jackson Hyde book, we're gonna get this.
So well, yeah, it would make sense with Jackson and then Aquaman, Arthur, and who's the other Aqua person?
Maybe the daughter. I don't know if she's not a man, but who knows?
I don't know. So listen, if we're going to start getting multiple Aquaman books, that's a problem for me because honestly, like we don't even have certain characters that have their own books that have been missing for a super long time. Like, again, and I'll point it out, like Green Arrow, he has not had his own book for the longest time. And it's like, why would we need another Aquaman book, right? I mean, if you like the character, that's great. I personally have never been a huge fan of the character, but we don't need more than one Aquaman book, right?
Well, I'm hoping the current book is ending, and then they also have the Aquaman Green Arrow crossover. I'm hoping this book comes out like after that. That way, it's like, okay, we only have one Aquaman book, but it's like a different. Maybe they're like combining both. Like, I don't mind that, but I agree, I don't need like 10 Aquaman book. I don't even really need one, but people do like the Aquaman, I guess, franchise. Next up, this is interesting. So, Detective Comics is becoming weekly. Yay. But it's kind of going back to the roots of what James Tynion was doing when he was on Detective Comics. It's not going to be a Batman book. It's a Bat Family book. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I might go pick it up if it's not Batman. Because I think the thing that I disliked about Detective right now is like, A, I don't feel like a lot is happening, but also B, it's just another Batman story. Like I could read Batman for that. So to see a different angle and to see the Bat Family, I like that. I don't like it's weekly. I don't know if that's going to deter me to read it though. I am dropping Detective for the time being until this happens for sure.
I think that's a positive because we have too many Batman books as it is. It just seems like every week there's a new Batman story getting ready to come out, and I just feel like people, even hardcore Batman fans, are getting burnt out of Batman, and there's only so many stories you can tell that before they're going to just start getting old or boring or drawn out or whatever the case may be. So if you have Detective, right, it only makes sense to explore the other characters in the Bat family. That does make sense. I think that is a good idea. And then leave like the other Batman books for Elseworld stories or whatever the case may be, because doesn't Detective seem like it's like just like you have a detective comic book and it's like connecting to Fear State? How is that how does that even make sense, right? It's kind of weird, isn't it?
It's been boring. Yeah, and that's exactly the reason why I dropped it. I'm like, oh yeah, how does that make sense? Why is everything attached to Fear State? Is this really that big of an event? Because I don't think anything that big has happened to warrant all these tie-ins, and that's been very annoying. But then I read Batman Urban Legends, and I actually enjoyed that tie-in. I guess in every blue moon you'll get a good tie-in. But yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. But then it goes back to the Spider-Man thing. Don't you feel like there's been so much Spider-Man because it's weekly? Or are we going to feel the same way with Detective
Right.
and having all these Batman titles as well?
I
I
mean,
just think it's a
Detective
lot.
was always that book that just was that other Batman book, right? It's just like it was just like when you had Amazing Spider-Man and back in the day and you had Web of Spider-Man or Spectacular Spider-Man. It was just another, Spider-Man story, but Detective doesn't even make sense when you have all the other Batman stories being told in just random books. So this change will definitely be good, I think.
For sure. Now, let's pivot to some Marvel because we're not going to be talking that much Marvel, at least for the news. So Elektra is getting her own Daredevil series, which I'm stoked for. I'm so happy about this. I really love the the Elektra section for Daredevil, and I think the struggle of that book, in some ways, even though it's been great, like the little nitpick is like, oh, I want to see more Elektra. Oh, I think Daredevil should have more. So if she gets her own book, perfect. I think that's great.
It's a mini series though, right? It's not it
I
wasn't
believe so.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
wasn't an ongoing.
at least it's a tie-in to that big event as well. So
Yeah,
it seems
that's
like
what
they're
it
doing a lot
is.
with that.
Exactly. There seems to be more tie-ins to this, Daredevil event than initially thought. So this is like going to be pretty much a big deal. But I'm going to be on board because I think Chip Zdarsky is writing it, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. I'm
I would
pretty
hope,
sure
right?
I remember. I mean,
Let
there
me
was
see.
so much news, it was hard to remember everything
Yeah,
that
he's writing it.
yeah. So I'm on board with that because I love Elektra as Daredevil right now. If she had her own ongoing book as Daredevil, I would pick that up all the time because I think she's great.
And maybe it's testing the waters, maybe it's just like, oh, we'll start with a miniseries. If this does well, we'll give her more. Or it could be like a very like Jane Foster thing. Like she gets a lot of miniseries and then, she'll get a next volume, next volume. We do
Now,
have a question. What are you
I
gonna say?
do have one question though for you.
Mhm.
If Elektra did become Daredevil, right? Would there be this other case going around saying, "Oh, here we go, Marvel having another female character changing the status quo of what Daredevil is." Do you think you would get a lot of that out there?
I think a lot of people not reading Daredevil and reading the headlines will say that. And then
Right.
everyone reading Daredevil will be like, where have you been? This
Yeah.
has been happening for a year. And it's been a great book. Like, it's so interesting because it goes back to, I know you weren't here for last week, but like the Superman, John Ken stuff and every other headline you have with that, or even Jane Foster and stuff like that. It's like everyone who complains about those things aren't even the people reading the book.
Mhm.
And it's just like, wait, this has been happening the whole time. Like, you're just reading a headline, getting upset for no reason.
Right. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense for sure.
Yeah. We do have two questions here. Mike Manhattan says, anyone read A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance? I don't even know what that book is. I've not read it.
Yeah, I did not read it either.
And then Tevia asks, any opinions on the new She-Hulk series coming out? We have talked about it when it was initially announced. I know now we're getting covers for it. We got the Jen Bartel cover. I mean, I'll give my opinion on that. It
Yeah.
looks awesome, and I'm stoked for this book. I love Rainbow as a writer. She did such a good job on Runaways, so very excited for this.
Adam Hughes is doing the other covers too for it as well. So same cover artist that's doing the Black Widow cover art right now, the main cover art. So I'm totally, man, I just am beyond the moon for classic Jen Walters to come out, and it just makes sense being that you're going to get She-Hulk TV show getting ready to come out, and so it makes sense to get her back to where she came from. And honestly, there's a lot of folks out there that just that's what they want. So why not give the fans what they want, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I agree. So going into, again, we have so much, I'm trying to talk about some Marvel news before we get into all this DC news. So the next Marvel piece I could see here is Silver Surfer getting a mini series. I think this is like a classic mini series. I believe Ron Mars is going to be on it, Ron Lim. So if you miss classic Silver Surfer, that is what you guys will be getting.
Yeah. When I heard this news, I was really excited. So this is the series that took place back in the 90s. And what is it? Who did you say wrote it again?
Ron Mars.
Mars. So this was
Yeah.
his first Marvel project with this Silver Surfer series. And man, he did a wonderful job with it. And this had developed so much stuff like the Infinity Gauntlet. It led into what's it called? The Infinity Stones, just all that story, and I have not really honestly enjoyed the Silver Surfer series since this volume ended.
Wow.
And now you're getting the same creative team back to do this 5-issue miniseries, which I think is really cool.
Is it out of
and
continuity? Is it in continuity? What's
Yeah,
going
it
on with
is.
that?
It definitely is.
Oh.
It's taking place during sometime during that timeline or something's going on. I forgot what the article actually said, but I'm really looking forward to that. And I do take that back. The one Silver Surfer series I did like was Silver Surfer Black. I thought that was good, and how Silver Surfer was written in the Thanos series. So I thought that was cool too. But yeah, I am really super excited for this. I can't wait to see, artwork and covers from this. This is just going to bring me back.
It definitely looks very classic, the art style. I'm like, man, it
Yeah.
literally looks like it was from back then. Like, I'm like, is this like new? Is it just a
Yeah.
reprint? So it's kind of
Yeah.
cool to give that classic feel. Other thing, Valiant Comics is going to Kickstarter for their graphic novels. I'll continue to say it's just very cool to see them, any company use different mediums and use Kickstarter. So excited to see how that will do for them and if they'll continue to use the platform. So yeah, interested to see that. So I just want to give a little tidbit on that. All right, moving into it's interesting. This is a news piece. Nightwing's getting a new costume. And it's not really that new. He like got stripes on his arms now.
It looks
okay.
so similar. It's not
Yeah.
much different, And like when they do like the little design sketch on there, and I'm like, what's different about it? I'm like, there's not much there.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, this is just for a headline, I guess. Like, I feel like Nightwing's been getting a lot of headlines lately. It's like, oh, this issue is going to be like fully like no panels, and now we have look at this new costume. Does Nightwing need these headlines? I'm pretty sure it's selling pretty well, so I don't get that, but it goes back to like the Batgirl costume that doesn't look that different either, which is good. If you have this drastic costume change, a lot of people get upset. So
I want to see the
let it be.
Batgirl costume with the current artist on there, not the artist that's doing the Fear State tie-ins right now, because I need to see that costume drawn in a different way.
I agree, but I think tomorrow's issue is still the same artist
Yeah,
as
it
the
is.
last.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm sure we'll see more Batgirl in the future, so I'm not too worried. I'm sure we'll get to see that costume somewhere else or in different art style. Tevia says, what about Dan Slott's Silver Surfer series? I personally really like that series, but yeah, everyone else didn't on the podcast, so
I wasn't a fan of it. I wasn't
taste.
a fan of the girl riding around on the board with him. I didn't like Allred's artwork for it. There was just nothing there that I enjoyed. I was like, oh, because it's hard for me, because Silver Surfer is just one of those characters where that volume, I will compare every volume that is released to that series, because it just made that much of an impact for me. And I felt like that volume was really true to the character, And so it's hard to take a different look. Even Silver Surfer Black, like, it was a stretch for me because of that artwork that was in it. But overall, when Don Cates wrote that story, I was like, wow, he wrote a really good story here. So it kind of, I kind of overlooked the artwork, and eventually it kind of fit in with the book there. But yeah. And I saw that Grant Morrison comment there too, that almost wrote a Silver Surfer series from Mike Manhattan as well. I would not read it if that was the case.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I tried reading his current Green Lantern book that he did. No way, man. I fell off of that after the second issue.
Yeah, and I wasn't a fan of the art style either, even though I think Liam Sharp did a good job with Wonder Woman. I just wasn't feeling that book. So moving into, speaking of Wonder Woman, this is interesting. Wonder Woman's actually getting an event. It's called Trial of the Amazons. And the issue is I'm not reading Wonder Woman, and I don't know if I want to read Wonder Woman, but I love the idea that she's getting an event. I think she deserves it, and I like Wonder Girl. That's been really good, but I'm not reading Nubia. I'm not reading the current Wonder Woman series, so I don't know if I'm gonna read this.
I'm gonna check it out. I always seem to check out Wonder Woman stuff, and I never like it, right? Except like Wonder Girl right now. And being that, again, Wonder Woman doesn't have any events, I'm like, well, maybe this could be kind of cool. It could be something different, So I might check it out and see what it's about. But I don't have high hopes for it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, we'll see how light that week is. If it has it's weird to say, if it has an alpha issue that's not just like it's starting in Wonder Woman, I might give it a shot because at least it's like a new series and I don't feel like I'm missing out on things. But if it's just like here, it starts in part 1 on Wonder Woman, I think it's a little harder to pick up. Which is weird because I feel like everyone talks backwards, like, oh, why do I need to spend $10 on a book? But honestly, it feels more of like an event if it's in another book and then, or if it's a mini series and then jumps in tie-ins into other titles for parts.
right.
Let's see what else we got here. We got a lot of news, like I said. This is interesting. Batman's getting another origin book, of course, another Batman book. You thought they were all over, but Chip Zdarsky's writing it. So I'm like, okay, I might read it.
Yeah. So listen, when I saw this, I'm like, really? Like, I get it. Chip Zdarsky, the man, right? I'm not saying that he won't write a great story. However, why do we need another like story about his origin or year zero
The
or
movie.
whatever? It's crazy. But we do have a super chat here from Ken, and
Oh, you got
I
it?
took it off. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
it. He goes, "Hi all, I will drop Detective without Batman." So Ken
Ooh.
is, a great supporter of my channel, and he's on my Facebook group, and he sells a whole bunch of comics, CGC, and he's a huge Batman fan. So even though with all the other Bat titles out there, Ken, um, you won't buy Detective, even if it has the other Bat family members in it. That's really what you'll go
See,
for.
I'm more interested in the Bat family members. Not saying anything against Batman, but I feel like give me the flagship with Batman. But I don't get to see, Batwoman all the time. I don't get to
Right.
see Tim all the time. Like,
Right.
I'd rather have a book with them than just tell me the same old Batman story that we're seeing in the regular Batman flagship. And I will say in Detective, it did start out really good where it was a mystery. It was a very different tone. But then again, it didn't really end up going anywhere. Even though I like Mariko and I like the art style a lot, it just felt like it kind of felt like it was a slug, but also the regular Batman title feels like a slug because again, James Tynion left, the plans changed, so I'm definitely feeling it in that regard. We actually have a lot of Batman comments, so let me go here.
Yeah, go
Better
for it.
to have too much Batman than not enough. I don't know about that. I think we'll always have just enough Batman. Then we got Brandon who says, I prefer Detective without Batman, have wanted it to be focused on the Bat family for a long time. I missed the beginning of the stream. What is happening with Detective? It is now a Bat family book instead of a Batman book, or at least it's going to be, and it's going to be weekly.
And
Long.
we made it a
Mhm.
thing saying that we understand why they're doing that because there's so much other Batman stories out there that you don't need Detective to tell a Batman story when we have literally a Batman or a new Batman story every single week. So to flesh out some more Bat family characters, why not put them in Detective? And I'm sure, trust me, I'm sure you're going to see Batman show up in those stories, though. I can guarantee that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm sure maybe he'll take a week off and be like, I'm back. We do have some questions here. Tevia asks, what about a Superman event instead of when we were talking about Wonder Woman? I'm trying to think if there has been a Superman event recently.
Mm.
I don't think there has. I agree. I think it'd be nice. Make some
But
of this stuff a little bigger, but
we got to
will
get
it sell?
Superman established. So you got
Mhm.
Clark off world. We don't know how long he's going to be gone for. It looks like probably a while. And then you got John. And so it's like you got to establish John some more. And then you're going to see, what stuff he's going to get into. So I don't
Yeah.
think we're just in that right time for him to have an event right now.
We also have a question from a comic book bookworm. Who is the new and good superheroes for DC? Who are they? Have there really been I think Naomi, and I don't even think she's that new. I'm trying to think if there's been a really new characters that have showed up. But
The only other one was the new Green Lantern.
Which one? The Teen Lantern or
no, not the teen one, the other one.
Joe.
Yeah, that you got her. I think she's pretty good. God dang, man, who else is there? I'm trying to think of who else is out there
like
that's
recently.
new.
I mean, like again, we have a lot of supporting characters that are new, but not ton. You had like the Ginny Hexes, but they're like kind of old now. That was a couple of years ago. You have the Monkey Prince, who was from the Asian special that's getting his own mini series. But a lot of us didn't read the anthology, so
but you're not getting a lot of new stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because we have the classic characters again that don't have their own books, so you're not getting a lot of new stuff right now. Yara
Grant
Flor,
brings up a good point. That's definitely the best is Yara Flor.
Yeah.
And then I guess I liked Aquaman's daughter. I think she's pretty cool. And then also Jess Quick was a cool character from Future State. I know we chat like every day, but I miss you both. Miss being on the show this week. We miss you too, Brant. As always,
absolutely.
I'm glad we got to see some comments from you. And if you stick around, if you just listen in the background, we love to hear you chat as you do some work. So those are, I guess, some new characters, but that is definitely a hard one because there isn't too many new ones. Jessica Cruz, I wouldn't count as a new character. She's been around for over 5 years.
Oh yeah, she's been around for a long time now.
Yeah, it's time flies. That's the reason why she feels like a new character. All right, well, we got 2 more news pieces for comics, and then we're going to go into the tremendous amount of news for media. But we do have Dan Mora, Mark Waid writing a Batman Superman story, which it looks like it's going to start as a backup, and then they're going to get like a miniseries or something. Like, yeah, I'll pick that up. It goes back to we have too much Batman books, but now Mark Waid and Dan Mora is working on it. So
exactly.
Why not?
But I haven't read Batman Superman in a while, so I'll be looking forward to these two on how they collaborate with each other. Interesting to see how Mark Waid would actually write Batman Superman. And then, but Dan Mora's artwork is always phenomenal. So it's like you would want to pick that up just in itself. So unfortunately, it is a mini series. I would kind of like to see that as an ongoing.
I think it's a mini.
Yeah,
that would be cool as an ongoing. I definitely agree with you on that one.
I know the most recent volume of Batman Superman just ended.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's why they're like, we can't have an ongoing. We'll just make it a miniseries and see if this does well. I'm sure Mark Waid and Dan Mora have other projects they want to do as well. So that's also a hardship with that one. But it shows that, Mark Waid's going back to DC, which we didn't know about. And this is his first project. So I'm curious to see what else he's going to end up doing. So last news piece here is Super Sons, all grown up. He's getting an annual, which, 2 weeks ago probably wouldn't have cared, but now here we are.
The first person I thought of was Tevye. Because he's like, I want my Super Sons back. I want this back. I want John and Nunn. I want Damian. And there you go, Tevye. Now you get to have them explore with each other as they're older and get to hang out. And this makes sense, right? I thought, this is perfect. It's like a young Batman Superman comic. It's perfect.
I'm also more excited for this because they both have more to talk about now. Like before, it was just fun one-off adventures where they're just kids,
like little
doing
kids,
fun things. Yeah. Like there was never a story, which is why I didn't love Super Sons. But here, like Damian's been going through a lot in his own book with everything with Flatline and Lazarus Pits and his history of his family, and then obviously John's being bisexual and him exploring that, and I think they said they're going to mention it, and then obviously becoming Superman. They have things to talk about now. There's a story there, and I'm interested in that.
And it'll be interesting to see how John might open up towards Damian too.
For sure.
I want to hear that and how Damian takes that, and and I think, again, what the two writers are doing with both characters are quite interesting, right? So we're making John bi, right? And so he could have an interesting relationship with Damian, and Damian is not this we're trying to open him up a little bit more, not make him such a prick all the time. You know what I'm saying? Have him have friends and things like that. So it'll be interesting to really see how these two interact as they're older now.
For sure. I'm honestly genuinely excited for this book. However, I'm hoping the annual does turn out good. I am glad. I thought at first it does not turn out good. I'm like, why would you want that? But I'm glad you're looking up on it. All right, let's get into some media news. So I'm gonna try skipping around to some of the stuff that are not DC, and then we'll go into DC stuff. First up is why The Last Man got canceled already. But I know they had production issues. I'm not that surprised on that one.
Yeah, I heard there was like production issues. They had a tough time getting it to a certain avenue, like, you know, certain places who were going to take it. It seemed like it was a mess, and it just, I don't know, it was doomed to fail, I guess, you know?
Yeah, I'm not totally surprised by that one. And honestly, I was kind of waiting on to see like, oh, what's going to happen with this show? Or people were going to talk about it. Because honestly, it was going to be a show I was going to watch because I love Brian K. Vaughan. And I've actually never really read fully the comic books. I'm like, oh, you know, I don't know much about it. It wouldn't be like Invincible, even though I enjoyed Invincible. But the hesitancy I had was like, oh, I already seen the story. Why would I want to watch it again? Like,
But didn't it stray away from the comic book a bit?
The Invincible or Why the Last Man?
Why the
Last Man did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard because they're like, we need to modernize this story a bit. But either way, like, you know, they're always going to pick some stuff from the comics. I'm like, oh, you know, I want to see something fresh. And I actually was going to watch it because of that. And then obviously it got canceled. So there's no point.
Yeah, Ken said, he goes, yeah, Why the Last Man, not even close to the original.
Maybe that's also why it got canceled.
I think if you change it completely to something it wasn't, you know, that is not from the source material, and you're just like calling it Why the Last Man, then I think people are going to get turned off by that.
I agree for sure. And I think that was definitely a big detriment. And then again, having Brian K. Vaughan not really involved in it was a detriment as well. All right, well, let's go into the second part of this kind of bigger news speech, which is the Marvel movies being delayed. They're not being delayed by a lot, but honestly, these Marvel movies have been pumping out, and we have the Disney Plus stuff. I don't think I'm going to be noticing as much, but it's interesting that DC has all these announcements, and then Marvel's like, yeah, we're also delaying some things.
Yeah, I know. I think they just want to get the release times like lined up perfectly so everything makes sense.
Disney Plus.
You know, I saw the big one was what? Doctor Strange got pushed back.
Jane, the Thor one got pushed back. I think a lot of them got pushed back.
Yeah, and so some of them that were being earlier released in the year got released later, like closer to summer or whatever the case may be. But nevertheless, I mean, listen, the whole movie industry has gotten all screwed up because of just COVID and everything being backed. I mean, you look at these movies to begin with, they probably would have been coming out last year. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, dude, it's like insane. But, you know, it is what it is. I say thank you, Disney Plus, because if we did not have Disney Plus, we would have been out of Marvel stuff for a very long time.
Oh, yeah. And I'm stoked for Hawkeye and everything that's going to come out very soon. We have a super chat. I'm going to read Brant first. I was watching it, bummed it got canceled. It was about Why Last Man. It wasn't the best thing, but it was decent for what I saw so far. Then we also have this super chat by Slots. You are my favorite YouTuber and my best friend. Well, all right. Thank you, Slots. We appreciate that.
That's a good one.
We love it. DC needs to find A-list actors to play their characters. Last DC movie I saw in theater was Joker, and the next I'll see is Black Adam.
Do you know I have not seen Joker yet?
You know, I don't think you need to. I didn't love it. Yeah, I didn't quite love the movie. I think it's unique. I think there's something to talk about, but you know, yeah, I don't recommend it, at least in my opinion. I didn't love it.
I have not attempted to watch Suicide Squad again since
me either.
HBO Max went on the shits for me, like I told you about, because I got like 4 minutes into it and then it just like crapped out, and I tried watching it multiple times and I was like, somebody does not want me to watch this freaking movie, so just turned it off. So now what I've been watching is freaking Squid Games.
I've heard good things about Squid Games. I gotta sit down and watch it.
I'm
one of
on
these days.
episode 6 on that.
Ooh, I heard that's where it gets really good.
Oh, really?
Is that episode?
I mean, listen, it surprised me that first episode, and it, very interesting show. Very, very interesting. I'll definitely give it that.
I'm excited around November, December when I don't have a Kickstarter going on, when I can maybe sit down and, watch a subtitled show. That's even harder. Watch a show where you literally have to so much focus on it.
Yeah, but it has dubs on it, so you can, it's
I
in
heard
English.
the dub's bad though. I heard the dub's not as good as the sub.
But listen, it gives it this weird vibe where it just gives it this quirkiness or this uniqueness about it. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. I'm down with it. They all kind of sound the same, but it's just it's good, man. It's entertaining that way,
I think I gotta watch this up. I gotta watch it on its pure state. But that is a show that's definitely something I want to give a try. All right, let's see. We also have Wonder Woman 3 was confirmed. Didn't really like the second one. Loved the first one. Maybe the third one could redeem itself, right? Like Thor. Thor had like a bad first one, had a really bad second one. The third one was great. So maybe we can hope for a really good movie for the third one. Maybe it'll be in present time. That'd be cool.
So
we'll see.
I didn't watch the second one because
you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone said it was bad. So I'm like, nah, I'm not watching it. So if the third one is good, I'll check it out, I guess.
Hopefully it's a good one. So going in, we're going to go into all all these movies that showed their little teasers, but I want to start with some of the smaller news. We also have DC Comics animated Slate that was announced. It's so funny. Tevia's been axing for a Super Sons movie so long, and he finally got it. So you got Super Sons, you got some Teen Titans Go in there, you got a Green Lantern movie that's coming out, and then I think those were the big ones. Constantine Short is coming out, but those are the big ones. You have Catwoman that we already knew about. That's interesting that they're doing Super Sons. I honestly, the reason I want to talk about is Green Lantern. Finally, they're doing another Green Lantern anime movie, and something not Batman, Superman. So I hope I'll watch it. I haven't seen Injustice yet. I haven't heard anyone talk about it. So I'm like, man, if they can't do Injustice right, then I kind of give up,
I watched that trailer for Catwoman. Man, let me just tell you, that was not good. I did not like that trailer whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it.
Did you not?
So tired. No,
it's just bad. It's bad. I don't like the animation. I didn't like the voice acting. I just felt like it was horrible in my opinion.
We have a lot of super chats. Thank you so much. We have Slots who gives $2. Who says up all night pricing books, $2,323 halfway done.
Holy
congrats on that. It's a lot of money.
Man.
And then we have a new type who gives $10 and says, Kat, isn't Kamala having its worst right now compared to Miles with a mediocre solo run by Ahmad? The fact that she was in a coma and her school was destroyed and outlawed, a fastest law was named after her. Well, I know they were supposed to have that miniseries come out. I know it got delayed, but mostly probably because of the show, because the show got delayed. So, yeah, I think Kamala has a bright future. She might not think about the past too much. She got a miniseries coming up. She's hopefully has a great TV show coming up. So, cross her fingers for 2022.
She has a Marvel Tales book coming out.
I think I already did. Yeah,
was it last week?
Reprints. Yeah, I think.
Oh, was it? Yeah. So it was a reprint, but still, if it's something cool, if you want to get caught up in the character and not know too much about her, I think that's pretty neat.
We also have Brand who mentions about Catwoman. The Catwoman voice actress was fine. Everything else was bad.
I don't know. I thought the acting was horrible in it.
I'm glad I did not see the trailer, and I don't have any plans to watch the movie or any fandom towards Catwoman. So I think I'm okay on that one. So moving on, I'll talk about this quickly. Young Justice has a surprise release. They literally released 2 episodes. Spoiler alert, I hated both of them. I hated them. Me and Phil.
You watched them?
I watched them because me and Phil were packing all day, and I forgot what we did that day after that, but we went to a Halloween party. So we went to a Halloween party, and it was like 12 o'clock, and we had an early day the next day. But we were like, you want to watch Young Justice? Like, let's just get it, let's watch it. Let's see, because we always talk about Young Justice. Like, before we were like really, really good friends, we bonded over Young Justice. So we're like, let's watch it. And it's all about this Martian stuff. It was all exposition. It was so boring. I really didn't like it. I mean, obviously I'm going to watch the rest of the season. The trailer looked good. There's a trailer for the rest of the season. I'm like, why didn't I get to see that in the first episode? Like, there's Artemis and all these other great characters, and there's promise of the characters that we love being focused on. But I have a lot of issues with them releasing this. We didn't even have a trailer. So that was like weird. Like, there's no anticipation for the season. They're like, oh, it's here. It was like, what? And like, I feel like no one knew it was out. No one was really talking about it. I thought it was not a good idea that they did this. There's just no anticipation.
Right. Maybe that's why the first 2 episodes sucked, though, because they're like, oh, here, because they're just letting you know it's coming out right now.
But it was so interesting about that. Those were free, though. Episode 1, because of DC Fandome, they were going to allow that for anybody to watch. You think they would want to make them good?
I don't know. Yeah. Will it pick up? Hopefully it will be good. I mean, it sounds pretty good based off of what you were, explaining. So I am honestly shocked, though, that you went out of your way to watch those episodes, especially how you've been on TV lately.
We have a special place in our heart for that show. So we're like, all right, even I'm going to be watching the episodes this week too. And I'm literally have to go to Baltimore. I'm like, no, gotta watch Young Justice to
so funny.
Look at it. It's like that and Harley Quinn. I'll take my time to watch. Once I'm in, I'm in. It just takes me a while to get into those shows.
Right.
We got hello from TuneLink MS. Thank you for giving us a hello. So moving on to now we're pretty much into the TV show and movie stuff. So TV show, we did get a trailer for Harley Quinn season 3. Wasn't much of a trailer because they're not done with it, but I'm excited. I love that show, and yeah.
I watched it and I'm like, okay, I want to see what this trailer is, and then they're just like showing like kind of like stills and uncolored drawings, and I'm like, Harley's making it funny, of course, but I was like, man, I just wanted to see a little bit more of it.
I hope you get to watch the show at some point, because I generally think you'll like it.
I will definitely try.
Then we also have TuneLink who asks, are you going to watch Young Justice? Yeah, no, I'm gonna watch it. As much as I hated those 2 episodes. I mean, those 2 episodes were the worst episodes of Young Justice, in my opinion. I watched them. So, hopefully it could only get better from there.
Can't get much worse.
Can't get worse. There's actually like a whole entire scene of just them explaining mythology. And I'm like, please, no, I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, boring. Yeah, I was not a fan of it. All right. Next up is Naomi first look.
Nope.
I was disappointed. Yeah, I was really disappointed with that. Love the comic, but that just felt cheesy.
Like anybody could do that.
Yeah, I was not a fan at all.
I'm gonna lie down. Oh, look, there's Superman that flies by. Because that's what it was at the top there. And that was that. That was so dumb. That was like the worst teaser trailer I've ever seen in anything. Period.
It was not exciting at all. There was no, I feel like they shouldn't have released anything because that was just not a good call. And maybe the show will be great, but I was like, man, this is not getting me into this. It also shows like this character is too new. Like, she doesn't really have a story past like 5 issues. So it's like, why are we having a TV show already?
Yeah, I mean, and then if you release a teaser, like give her a teaser where she's powered up or something. Right? Don't just give me something where she's just running and then she's on the ground. That's so lame.
Yeah, I was definitely not a fan of that at all. So we'll see where that goes. Let's see. We have any other questions here? Wait, is Harley Quinn free? Just tuning in. No, it's on HBO Max. So the thing that was free is Young Justice Season 4, Episode 1. I believe they made free for DC Fandome. I don't think they made anything free for Harley, though. Why does Naomi need a live action series? Why does anything need a live action series? Really, you could say that about anything. Kenneth says, I thought DC Fandome was 50-50. We'll give our review of DC Fandome, I think, at the end of, things that were released. All right, let's get to Aquaman 2 first look, which was not much. It's just like, oh my God, if you like the first one, this is going to be bigger than that. And I'm like, well, I didn't really like the first one, so I don't know
they
if
didn't
I
give
like
you a
this one.
teaser. It was just like,
No.
like them making the movie. Like, good for you. Like, the Black Adam one had a teaser, right? And so that got you excited for that.
Were you excited about it? I don't like Black Adam, so I think that was the hardship. I'm like, I feel so dark. It feels like all the other DC extended universe movies. Like, I love The Rock, but
my passion is not DC, right? So it's hard for me to get into a lot of these movies. However, I do like The Rock, and I thought that what we saw from that, I was like, oh, I definitely would want to see this movie. Same with Shazam, too. I was like, the way they made Shazam, I really like that one, and I would go see
Shazam
the
was my
second one.
favorite.
Yeah.
That was my favorite out of all of them.
And with Black Adam, I'm like, this looks cool. And again, the person that's going to make me see it is going to be The Rock, because I think he could fit that character pretty well.
Yeah, no, The Rock, honestly, like, even when it's a bad movie, it's an entertaining role for him. Like, I love The Rock. I think he's great. So either way, I think I'll see the movie just because of him. But I'm like, I don't know if I really care about Black Adam. But Shazam, man, I think out of all these trailers, and, we'll talk about Batman and all that, Shazam got me the most excited. I was like, this feels so different from any of the other trailers we just saw. It looks fun. I'm stoked. I love the first movie.
Well, part of it is because it's the one movie that is not so dark, right? I mean, when you look at the Batman trailer, right? Shit, that trailer is so dark you can barely see it on the screen, like, because it's just a dark ass movie, and but I think when it comes to Shazam, I'm like, he's the one bright character in this universe, or in this extended movie universe, that that's positive in my opinion, so, and especially his supporting cast too, his whole family, his whole family's bright and they're comical. And so it's something to look forward to. It's just different from them.
They're characters of their own too. And I think that was really fun about the first one. It felt like a well-written movie. Yeah, everyone felt fleshed out. And I feel like with the DCEU, sometimes I'm like, who are you? Like, what are you trying to sell me? Like, it's so actiony and so bigger than life. I never really get to like see the core of the character. And I feel like Shazam and even Wonder Woman 1, to a lesser extent, did that very well.
Right. Got a question here. It says from Kenneth. It says, Cat and Mike, have either of you seen Superman and Lois yet? Thought it was pretty good. Season 1. Unfortunately, I have not. Now, I've heard great things about this show, but I have not had a chance to sit down and watch this. It's very rare that I get to watch TV, period, anyway, unless it's me watching something with my wife. So, yeah, I have not seen it, but I'm glad people are enjoying it, though.
Yeah, I've heard good stuff. Just not. It doesn't sound like my thing. So, and I'm just, as Mike would say, like, I also just such limited time for television. And I tend to not want to watch things that are superhero related if I am watching TV stuff for relaxation. Unless I truly like Harley Quinn or used to be Young Justice. But yeah, I really try to be picky with my shows. So I don't really care about Superman that much to watch his show. And I've seen it a million times already. I've seen Smallville. I've seen all the movies. I've read all the comics. I don't think I need another one. All right. We also got a super chat here. New type. Speaking of Marvel teen heroes, isn't it sad Sam Alexander never caught on compared to Miles and Kamala? I like him, but he feels like an underdog. I think it's mostly because Nova's an underdog. Like, Nova is not a Captain Marvel or a Spider-Man. So I think in that regard, that's why people didn't give Sam a chance, even though I love Sam. I think he's a great character.
I love that Sam Alexander Nova book. I thought that was an amazing series. So well written, so well drawn. The colors were beautiful in that book. And it just, like, you're right, though. Like, Nova is underrated. Like, you don't see Richard Rider books. You don't you don't see Nova in the Marvel universe yet, in the movie universe yet. And I know people are waiting for that to happen. They're waiting because like a lot of people have issue 1 of Nova and they're like, how come Nova's not in the Marvel universe yet? But I really enjoyed that series. I have every issue of that series, well-written book. And I think he's a great character. I would love to see more of him.
For sure. Hopefully in the future. And maybe guest starring in other books as well. So next up, we're going to talk about the Peacemaker trailer. Now, we both have not seen Suicide Squad, so that's interesting. But man, I enjoyed the trailer. I don't know if it's like, oh my God, I got to go see Peacemaker, but I'm a big Orange New Black fan. I love Tasty. So seeing her in it and seeing that she might be this like anchor character and just all these weird characters in one, I'm like, you know what? Looks fun. It definitely looks interesting.
Yeah, it did. It did look good. I mean, it has this similar feel to the Suicide Squad movie. Again, I did not see the movie, but I've seen enough previews. I've watched the first 4 minutes of the movie, and you can see that it definitely has this similar tone. And, I think it's something that definitely has potential. Will it get old after a while? Maybe. It could, and it'll be interesting to see what the plot will be like.
Oh yeah, for sure. That'll definitely see if it becomes a good show and catches on. Anyone else eating Halloween candy? I'm not currently. I'm not a big sweets fan. So
Honestly, I think I still have Halloween candy from last year. So there's your question there. There questions answered there, Ken. Now I'm going to have to go through it before Halloween happens again very soon.
Yeah, it's definitely coming up. I actually know I dressed up. This is so funny. I'm gonna try doing this. I'm going to a Comic-Con on Halloween near my brother. I went to a Halloween party the other day, and I had to get a costume because I was invited. I didn't know about the party until a couple of days early. Honestly, I knew about the party for a long time, and I was like, all right. Maybe I'll go. And then I decided like a couple of days before, like, all right, I'm going to go. And I was like, shit, I don't have a costume. I'm not great at costumes. So I'm the night before, I'm like, man, what am I going to dress as? So I got a Superman shirt. I got like made it a Clark Kent thing. But the twist was I put bisexual on it. Like I had one of my bi stickers. Now, I was the bisexual Superman. So, but obviously I wasn't John Kent because I got a press badge. So I'm like, I am the bisexual Superman everyone thinks is like Clark Kent, where everyone read the headline saying Superman's bi. Like, what?
Okay.
So I am the Superman that's not actually John. On the headline everyone thought was Superman being bi.
Now you're really going far there. That's funny.
Yeah. So I might dress up as that on Halloween just because I'm at a Comic-Con, so I feel like I should dress up. So I don't know where we got there, but that's my costume for Halloween. I think it was because of Halloween candy. So I did dress up. I have a picture somewhere of me dressed up as it. It was fun. I surprised people because I never dress up. So that was nice. All right, going back to track. Flash teaser came out. Talked about multiverses. Also looks really dark. I have not been excited for this movie, even though
how can a Flash movie be so dark unless it's like Flashpoint? Is it like Flashpoint or was it?
I think they were originally supposed to call it Flashpoint. I don't know if they went that direction. I know they're supposed to have the multiverses. They're supposed to have Michael Keaton in this movie. I think Ben Affleck's in the movie. So
right,
we'll see what happens with that one. I'm not stoked for it. All right, let's see if there's anything else here. Let's go to the big thing. This is our last news piece, and that is the Batman trailer. We had a Batman trailer last year. This is the new one. I liked it, but it also is like, do I need another Batman movie? That's kind of where I'm at. I liked it because I'm a Dark Knight fan, and it gave me similar Dark Knight vibes more than it did Batfleck, so that's good. Yeah. But at the same, and I thought the action looked great, but I'm like, man, do I need another one of these? What makes this any different than any other Batman movie I've seen?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I like it better than Affleck's Batman 2. And it looks again more dark, more gritty, and obviously it's what you're going to expect from a Batman movie. Like out of all these DC movies, this is where you gotta expect the darkest one of them all, right? I liked it. I mean, I need to see more of it, though, right? I need to actually see the movie to make a pure judgment of it, really. I'm not sold on him being Batman yet. I'm going to, again, have to watch the movie to see if he plays the character right. I don't know. I'm kind of in the same boat with you. Like, we've seen so many Batman movies. It's kind of like, okay, we got another one. So we'll see where it goes, you know.
Scott says you could say the same thing about Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
I do agree, but the one thing I will say that's a little different from Spider-Man, I think all three movies have a different tone. Like every single Batman movie kind of feels the same. And, I feel like the Tobey Maguire ones was the first. It was a little sillier. And then you had the Andrew Garfield one, try to go a little darker. And then Tom Holland is so connected to the MCU, it feels so different. So, yes, I could agree with that. Maybe this is just coming from, I like Batman, but Spider-Man's always going to be my fandom. So maybe it's just coming from that point of view, but I feel like they feel a little different than the Batman movies.
I can agree with you there. It's like Garfield's was like the one that was in the middle, right? The darker one. And then Tobey Maguire's was the original one, the first one that you saw on the big screen. So no matter what, that's going to have this impact in people's heads for the longest time, right? And then again, like you said, Holland's is the closest to, I feel, the Spider-Man that we've gotten yet, because it's MCU. It's closer to the comic books itself. It's not,
at least the original comics, I would say,
right.
because obviously
It's not like
adult
Sony's.
Spider-Man.
Sony's, Spider-Man, where the original ones, it was just like a lot of it was completely different. Especially like Andrew Garfield's one. His was like really, wow. His Green Goblin, that one was weird.
And then you look at Into the Spider-Verse, which is so completely different, and I think very similar to the comics, and obviously focuses on different characters. Like the thing with Batman, I think my biggest issue with Batman, I always will say it, is it always only focuses on Batman. It's never like, Dick Grayson comes in, at least Catwoman's in this one. But we also have seen a movie with Catwoman in it already. We saw Dark Knight Rises. So yeah, I think that makes it a little difficult.
I mean, unless you go back to the original Tim Burton ones, that's, when you saw those other characters towards the end, right? Where you get those horrible ones where you saw Batgirl make her appearance, and then you wound up, you saw Robin make his appearance in there too. So the Batman and Robin one. But those were completely different movies also, I guess you could say, and those were the originals also. But there's been a lot of Batman movies, and I don't know. I guess it's what you prefer at the end of the day, really.
For sure. Tevye asks Kat, what about Titans? Neither of us watch it, so we don't have opinions on it.
I watched one episode.
I watched season 1, and I did not watch season 2, and I just haven't watched it. So
I like TV. I don't want people to think that I don't like TV. I just don't have a freaking time for TV. So I'm lucky to watch what I can watch when I do. I mean, I remember I used to watch every single episode of The Walking Dead. Like that was my thing for the longest time. And then they got to the Whisperer season. I'm like, that's it. I'm out. I can't take anymore.
I think I watched. You watched it a little longer than me, but yeah, I would watch Walking Dead every weekend or whenever it came out. That was great. Once you suck me into a TV show, I'm there, but it takes me a while to suck me in.
The one show that I really enjoyed back then was The Strain. That was on.
Yeah, I remember you liked that one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that show. That was actually really cool. Because you really get a perspective of like a hive mind, where you got the lead creature speaking through all his little minions and whatnot. I thought that was just really awesome. And then just all the characters, like all the people getting infected by these little worms and stuff. Dude, it was great, man. I really love that show too. And then I was into like all the CW shows at first because they were all new. And then
they became old.
Then they became old, and then everyone had a show, and it's just like you couldn't keep up with them all. And that was the problem.
That's definitely the biggest issue. I mean, the only one I keep up with is Legends because I do a podcast, but also because it's not a superhero show anymore. It literally has nothing to do with comics. It's literally a comedy show. So I'm like, oh, this is a very easy watch, and that's why I enjoy it. I think of it's like, oh, let's go, talk about the Flash and do stuff like that. Like I think that would have been too much for me. I'm glad it's not really a comic show. But yeah, that's all the news we got. So before we jump into the comics, I do have a Kickstarter, so I'm going to screen share that for you guys. I actually think this is the first time we're talking about it because it launched this Monday. So we are already up to 203 backers, which is really cool. We've only been live for 2 days. And our goal is $10,000. We're inching closer and closer to 6,000. The book is, it's a very easy book to get into. You actually could read it for free on Webtoon, but this is to get the physical version. You could get the trading cards, you get a plush doll. But yeah, Slice of Life. It's about a gritty anime protagonist, Lady Vengeance, who comes to life and falls in love with a high school cheerleader. But also it's a story about breaking down what is the slice of life genre. So it's talking about, from a point of view of a fictional character, what is life, and kind of getting into the nitty gritty of that. So here are some pages. We have a very cartoony vibe to the book. I gotta show you guys the plush. I think that's the coolest thing that we got on here. So we got a plush doll. We got an actual doll of our character. We have stickers, and like we said, we got trading cards. I'll show you guys the trading cards. We have foil covers. So we got it all here. We're really excited about it. We think this is a great campaign to have right after Buy Visibility. The book's, obviously all done. We just have to print it. So, yeah, hopefully you guys could go support. I'll put the link in the description below. So let me unscreen share here. Yeah, now we're going into some comic books. We didn't have as many books. We definitely have a couple big books to talk about this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully you guys enjoyed all that news. It's been the biggest news day for the first time in a long time. So it was a little bit overwhelming to talk about all that news. But we got through it, and now we'll talk about those comic books. Remember, guys, spoilers up ahead. I'm hoping you guys read your comic books because we're going to spoil these stories here for you. And the first one we're going to talk about is the Immortal Hulk issue 50. This is the conclusion to a series that went on for quite a long time, probably a little bit too long, because by the time this issue 50 came out, I was like, oh man, am I ready for this final issue? Am I excited about it? And then I looked at it, I'm like, man, it's a lot of freaking pages. But you know what? I did enjoy it. I thought it was a pretty good ending. It's kind of crazy how it went full circle, basically, from Stern becoming just this loser janitor to the crazy leader to being this obsessed about learning about the Green Door and just everything and about this Beyond person and all that crazy shit. And then he's just a loser once again at the very end of the issue. Artwork was always solid. I do like the history of the Stern and Banner family. I did not see that coming at the end. So it really shows you how long these two have been going at it with each other. So I thought the book was good. I thought there could have been more action, towards the end, but it is what it is. And now it's done. But overall, as a series as a whole, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good and definitely a different take on the character.
I love the series, and I think the last 2 issues were really fantastic. I didn't love the finale. I thought that kind of fell flat, honestly, because it was so long and bogged down. I'm like, it kind of got lost in its own message. Yeah, I didn't love the ending, but I love the series, and I don't think it deters from my enjoyment of that.
Right. It was interesting. Like I said, I don't think it needed to be 50 or 100 pages. I don't think all these big conclusions to all these stories do need to be this long, because we're noticing that trend, right?
Oh, for sure.
We got to see that with Nick Spencer on Spiderman. We got to see that with this now in Immortal Hulk. And wasn't Venom that long too? Wasn't it a big issue?
Venom was long. They've all been very long.
Right.
And
So
none
they're
of them
all
have
pretty
needed
long.
it.
It's unnecessary to do it. I mean, I know they do it so they can get, the extra cash for it, but it doesn't
And make it
need
feel
to be.
special.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can see like 40 pages, 50 pages, but dude, 100 pages, like you could just stretch it out for another couple issues if you really wanted it to. So, but it was all right. It wasn't the best conclusion, but it was okay. All right, so let's talk about the Joker issue 8. I really enjoyed this issue because it really give you the insight of the character, which is calling herself Vengeance, Bane's daughter, on where she came from, how her motives work, and how she's like programmed to kill the Joker. And she is the one that is supposed to, that she goes to Commissioner Gordon and says, let me kill the Joker for you, because you can't do it. So I'll do it for you. Let me run my own life. I just thought it was really cool. And the artwork was awesome. And just, the gory level in this book was really good too.
Yeah, I am a little bit on the opposite page on that one. I thought it was a little bit too expositionary. Not that I actually like this issue more than I have been liking the series, but I feel like it's a little too late. We have very few issues left for this one. I feel like it's a little sluggish, and I wish they showed me the story than explain the story. Like, oh, let me sit down and tell you my whole origin story. So I didn't love that. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I've been losing interest in this series overall and just kind of seeing it through.
Right. I can understand that. I didn't mind the exposition in this book because I liked hearing her motive and, again, how she was created and what she's thinking in her brain when she comes across Joker, like what she would do to him. Like, she would literally rip out his tongue, torture him, and not do it to the point where he would pass out in shock, and actually bury him alive and then redig him up and burn him and then put his ashes throughout anywhere. I was like, wow, that's pretty sick. And James Tynion has gone very dark in this issue. So it was quite interesting to see like how she is programmed. And once the mission is carried out, then she winds up doing another mission. And she does not want to be part of that. She wants her own path, which I could totally understand. So I did enjoy that. I could totally see where you're coming from, though, because again, when you look at it, not a lot has happened in the book. You just got to learn about that one character, right?
Exactly.
So, all right. So let's then start off with our number 5 book. We'll jump into that. What was your number 5, Kat?
Book you have not read, Power Rangers. Yeah, no, we're getting closer to this kind of Zordon war, but what I liked is that the Power Rangers are stuck on this planet and they don't know if they're gonna survive. And it's kind of like Martian, like the movie, but with Power Rangers. And yeah, we get a little bit more of an expansion with the mythos. Lord Draken's kind of lurking in the shadows, being a villain, of course, and twisting his mustache, but it's a good build. I'm excited to see what this whole event's going to be.
Zordon War.
It's his people. I don't think I forget what it's actually called, but it's like his people are coming. They like almost killed him in the last issue. It's getting crazy. It's getting a lot.
That's funny. That's actually hilarious. Yeah, no, don't read Power Rangers, but we'll just dump into my number 5. And my number 5 was actually surprising for me, and it was Darkhold Iron Man issue 1. It was actually
you picked it up.
I did pick it up, and it was quite interesting. Only because it's Iron Man, So I was like, it's Iron Man. Why not pick it up? And it was basically like Iron Man was it was a story of like, what if the Iron Man armor didn't save Tony Stark, basically, right? So he was all injured and everything else, and he was doing experiments in his lab, and he found a way for his armor to heal himself. It was like a portable hospital, right? And so what happens then is he asked Pepper to take off his arm sleeve, and it's like his skin is all disintegrated. He's like, oh, whoops. He's like, I got a problem on this arm, so we got to fix it. So he puts it back on, and he gets sucked into his work. And you wind up getting to see how much like Pepper loved Tony and certain habits that he did. But he got so infatuated with the work, and the work wound up going wrong to the point where the suit actually took him and made him into this monster. And he couldn't take the suit off anymore. And eventually he got so sick in the head that he was inventing Iron Man suits for people to go in so they could take over their bodies. Dude, it was dark. It was crazy. I really enjoyed it. I was like, wow, this is awesome, man. So I don't know if the other Darkhold books would be good, but this one was enjoyable.
And this is out of continuity, I'm guessing, or is it?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
out of continuity. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, at least there's a good Iron Man story, right? That's always
Yep.
good.
Yep. Absolutely.
Look, we
So,
got $6 and they're requesting something. Show your t-shirt now, full screen standing. Oh man, I don't know about standing, but I'll try to do a little. I'm actually wearing the DC Universe shirt that I got for free like years ago. So I'm like, oh, we're gonna be talking about DC Fandome. So
here's mine. I wound up getting. It's funny how we're speaking about Iron Man.
oh, there you go.
Got my Iron Man shirt going on there. So, trying to think of where I actually got this shirt. I think I got it at Old Navy or something a long time ago.
Yeah,
But
the Old Navy and like those type of like Old Navy and another store. They usually have good superhero.
exactly.
Superhero shirts.
So,
All right. Well, Iron Man, I'm glad you liked it. Like I said, I'm glad you got your Iron Man
fill. It was
fill.
a surprise because I was like really on the fence. I didn't like the Alpha issue, but again, it's Iron Man, so I was like, I want to see what this is about. All right, so let's dive into the Amazing Spider-Man issue 76. What did you think about this one?
I like this one more than the last one. Because
too.
the last one was very setup-y. I'm like, oh, what happened to Peter? Why is he like almost dead? This one, emotions. Finally, we're getting some character work where it's like, okay, I honestly didn't love the Ben Reilly stuff. Like, that was the part where like, I don't really care about him being Spider-Man. But when you got to Peter, when you got to Aunt May and Mary Jane, which is a majority of the issue, I really liked it. And they did different stuff with it too, with the Spider Sense showing that his body's being attacked. That was really cool visual. Overall I enjoyed it. Hopefully it sticks around like this.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the book. I really did. And I did not like obviously how in issue 75 Ben was such an asshole, but he's getting paid to do what he's doing and he was kind of like, well, I'm going to do this no matter what. But I loved how he wound up going back to Peter to get his blessing. I thought that was really good, really well done. And it was kind of just like, okay, now that I got his blessing, I can be Spider-Man again and feel good about it because he gave me permission. And I thought that was kind of cool. And all the other character work, like you said, was really well done. Like the Mary Jane and Ben Reilly moment, the Aunt May moment, like all those were really awesome. And just even Peter slipping into the coma was actually pretty intense as well. So even though there wasn't a lot of action in this book, I really enjoyed it. And once again, Patrick Gleason's artwork was really well done. And how can you be tired of the Ben Reilly stuff when he's only been in 2 issues? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I think the overall scope of Ben Reilly in general, I'm tired of. I really don't care.
So overall, though, I thought it was a good book, and we'll see where it goes now. Now's the true test, right? We got the introduction or reintroduction to Ben Reilly. Now he's officially Spider-Man. Kelly Thompson is doing this next issue with Sarah Pichelli. And we're going to see now these writers take their turns, putting other characters in the book. And we're going to see now if it has true legs until we get to that issue 900.
Let's hope. Let's hope for sure.
Let me get some water real quick here. All right. So that was that one. And we did talk about your fun Power Rangers issue.
We did. We talked about that Power Rangers.
So getting away from that, we're going to go at our number 4. So what was your number 4, Kat?
Mine was Spider-Man. We already talked about it.
So I have another Spider book that we're talking about.
Oh, is it Miles?
Yeah, it was Miles. That's why I wish Brant was on the show. Maybe he'll chime in on here. So Miles Morales was doing battle against Taskmaster. Okay. And in this issue,
Taskmaster. That's why you enjoyed it.
Yeah. In this issue, though, he was after the girlfriend of Miles Morales. Her name is Tiana. And you get to see this very frantic issue where he's chasing them down and everything else. Again, it was like a 2-minute read. It was so super quick. But because Taskmaster was in there and he was so badass, I loved it, And Miles is just kind of like, no, Tiana, please don't go. You know, he's like this. He's so in
Oh God.
love and everything, but you know, now that she's taken away, you know, how's he gonna act? I mean, he got pretty beat up too. Um, you got an arrow to the arm and stuff like that. And the big thing is though, who wants this girl, like, and why? So it was cool, entertaining, and because of what happened, it's gonna make me buy another issue of this.
Oh man, you're back on the Miles Morales train.
Yeah, and it's just all because of Taskmaster.
He always brings you back. I'm glad
All right.
Taskmaster's had a good year.
Yeah, he actually really has. Yeah. So we got that
We
super
have
chat
a
there.
Yeah, we have a super chat. It's a pity Immortal Hulk is a bit tainted by recent bad news about Joe Bennett. Hope Halloween profile will continue to rise through. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, we've talked about this, I believe. Happy that Marvel finally took action with that, and sad he was on the book for as long as he was.
Yeah, yep. And Joe Bennett is gone from Marvel now, so
Yeah,
that's
he
it.
is. We
Yep.
also have a comment from Brandt. Only had 10 books. The Joker was number 5, and Miles was actually my number 4 as well. There
Yeah,
you go.
see? I knew
What
he
a
would
match.
like it. Because Taskmaster was totally in character in here. I liked it a lot. All right, so let's move on now to X-Men issue 4.
You're the only one who read this one.
So this was like I don't have much to say about this. This is more like a kind of filler issue to celebrate Halloween, as you got that character, what was his name, Midnight. He's the guy that actually will go to you and create like nightmares, or is it nightmares? I think that's what it is. I don't know what the hell his name is, but he'll go to you and like he'll see you what's in your dreams and all this other stuff, and that's kind of what the issue was.
He's Freddy
He'll-
Krueger.
yeah, and then the only thing that this story had to do with like the main story was you wind up seeing that guy that's infatuated with Mars, who wanted to be the first to Mars and live on Mars. He wound up, it looks like he's going there, and I don't know what he's going to do to Krakoa or Rocco or whatever it's called up there in Mars now. So it was okay, but again, it was just kind of like just a filler issue. It was nothing really that happened in it. All right, so then let's talk about May's book. What'd you think about issue 2 of this one?
I really enjoyed this issue. I feel like I enjoyed it even more than issue 1. I enjoyed issue 1. I liked it was him encountering his wife about their child and saying, no, she's alive, she's giving these signs, and she like give up. And I really liked how he figured out the maze in the city by the end. And even though this is a longer book, it never feels too long. Like I think it's like 40 something pages. But it flies by really well. And I liked it. I thought it was a really good issue.
Yeah, I did too. I feel sorry for the main guy. The
Yeah.
guy has been through so much. He gets that call from his daughter. He goes to ex-wife. Ex-wife is like, dude, you're a loser. Like, when was the last time you shaved? You need some help. And he's like, trust me, she's alive. And, after a while, you wind up finding out that, like, he thinks that she's actually stuck in the middle of this city. Like, that is the maze. And how would she be stuck in the city if she supposedly died, right? So it's such an interesting book, but you can't help feel for the father in this book. And that's what makes it so interesting. And you want to root for him. You want to sit there and be like, come on, man. I hope you get out of the dumps and you find your daughter and prove everybody wrong. Right. So that's what I hope for.
We do have a super chat. New Type says, do you even care if One More Day gets undone by this point? Yeah, I definitely do. I think I am tired of them trolling us for over 10 years because they continue to do that. That way we buy books. But yeah, no, any story, like that's the one I want to be undone. At the same time, like they're already getting close to being married. So maybe I don't care because it's like, what's the difference if they just get married? Like, does it have to be undone if the same results happened?
Yeah, I felt like if they were going to do it, they should have just done it in that last Nick Spencer run, and they didn't do it.
They're not doing it. Yeah, they're not going to do it.
So if they didn't do it there, they're not going to do it. So, but again, it's not like they can't get remarried, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just weird. It's just their relationship has been reestablished once again. So
That's the biggest part. Like, that's the thing I cared about. So since they're together, I don't really care as
right,
much, I
whether
guess.
they're married or not, as long as they're together.
Yeah, exactly. They could live together, right? Like, they don't have to get the marriage
Yeah, they can
certificate.
have
Like,
kids. They
that's
can
it.
do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's fine, right? All right. So, now I just lost my track. Oh, Maze book. That's what
We
we were talking about.
Yeah, we did May's book, so now we're actually up to number 3, I think.
Yep. And number 3 for me was was Maze book. Believe it or
Mine
not,
too,
was it
actually. It
really?
was May's book. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, so we're just cruising right along. We talked about Miles Morales already, so now we're gonna jump into number 2. What was your number 2?
My number 2 was Harley Quinn, actually, the anime series. I didn't love that first issue, but I'm not saying the second issue blew my mind, but at least I had fun with it. And I thought the jokes landed a little better. Catwoman was in it, and she was great. There's jokes about Catwoman and Batman's relationship. I thought it moved a little better. So I had a fun time with this.
That's good. Yeah, I did. Like I said, I wasn't going to read the next one, so
Yeah, I
definitely.
don't think I again recommend the show more than the comic. Don't have
Right.
to read this, but hopefully you do get to watch the show at some point.
So Brant's number 3 was Power Rangers, and his number 2
Nice.
is I Am Batman.
I didn't even know he was reading that. So
I didn't even pick that one up.
neither.
And I did hear though that it was good, but you know what? When I went to the shop and I saw it there, I'm like, oh, it looks like it's like super thick. And I'm like, I don't want to read another like huge ass book. I'm like, I already have Immortal Hulk this week. And I was like, I don't know if I have time to read another one. I was like, do I want to read another Bat book though? But I did hear good things about this book. So.
But also, I gave so many chances to that book. Like, we read The Future State. I even had to read for an interview, Second Son or whatever it was called. I read that. I was like, I don't like this. So I was like, oh, why would I give I Am Batman a try after I gave all the other ones
you
a
know
try?
what? I'm sorry. I got that confused. See, talking about too many Batman books.
So you were thinking about Batman Imposter.
Yes, Batman Imposter. Yeah. That's the book.
I also did not read that.
Yeah. Oh, man. Empire Comics says, I Am Batman was so good. It was my pick of the week. All right.
Wow,
So good.
There you go.
It's perfect.
It was
like I said,
good.
Everybody's got different books that they like. And if you like something, man, that's great. You know,
sure.
always our opinion. And that's always what we say, what makes this hobby so great, you know? So, all right. So now we move on to what? Number 2, Kat?
Empire Comics said, oh, wait, no, I meant a Batman Imposter.
See, everyone's getting confused. That's hilarious.
So I did my number 2. So we're up to is the Titans United book.
Oh, okay. Wait, I didn't do my number 2 though.
Oh, so you're up to number 2.
Yeah. Okay. So mine was actually Joker issue 8. So that was my number 2. So we did talk about that. Now let's talk about Titans United. So what did you think about this issue this time around?
It was just kind of there. I think that's the best thing. Like, I have fun with it because it's just like, you know, characters I don't get to see very often. So it's not like I'm dropping it right now. But at the same time, I'm like, nothing special either.
Right. Let me answer this question real quick. Not this one. He's laughing. This one here. JT Gamer says, Comic Book Corner, what do you think of the Epic collections? I think the Epic collections are really good. They're affordable and they give you a lot of story, and it tells it in chronological order, kind of just like Omnibus does. So if you can't afford Omnibus, then I would go with these Epic collections. I think they cover a lot of stories. I have quite a few of the Spider-Man ones myself. So if you haven't bought any, I definitely say go out there and buy some. I think they're actually getting ready to come out with a Silver Surfer one. Also, right before this new Silver Surfer series comes out with this Epic collection. So I definitely recommend it.
We also have Brant who says, I Am Batman was good. Renee Montoya was a central focus in this issue. So there you go. That's cool. Right. I guess because it was Renee's issue and not the characters they've been focusing on.
Gotcha. So going back to Titans United, I like the issue too. I thought it was pretty cool. You kind of got a reasoning why like they're all acting like a bunch of idiots. They're all hardcore. But I thought it was cool. Like, you got Superboy, who's just angry about what's going on, and he winds up flying to above the atmosphere. That's kind of dumb on his part. He like flies above the atmosphere when his powers are going haywire, and then he loses consciousness. And then you got to see like who picked him up at the end. It was Blackfire, right?
Blackfire, yeah.
Picked him up
Which
at the
maybe
end.
she has something to do with the TV show. I don't know. We're both not watching it, but yeah, like that's the thing. Like it felt like classic cliffhanger, right? Like, oh, this feels like a classic comic, but at the same time, like, I want a little bit more. But
it's fine. It's all right. It's good.
Exactly, it's fine. It's fine.
It's at least you're getting something right from these characters and from this team. Where Titans Academy, it's horrible. I don't like it at all. So at least now you're getting these characters in an adventure, right? So it is what it is for right now.
Titans United. Yeah, go for it.
It's disappointing for me. I don't hate it. It's fine, but it's not really what I wanted. Because I think, again, they're gearing it more towards Titans, not necessarily the TV show, not necessarily the comic book.
But then it goes back to, who are they selling it to? Are Titans TV show fans know this is geared to them? Like, is it geared to comic fans? I think it's such a weird book.
Right. Blackfire has a significant role in season 3. Yeah. So see that exactly. That's why Hawk and Dove were in it too. So totally makes sense. All right. So now we move on to number 1. And what was your number 1?
Mine's a book you don't read, which is Second Coming.
Second Coming. I figured Second Coming.
Yeah. Only Begotten Son. It's the ending of this chapter, and honestly, I just thought everyone had a good role. It's God and Jesus saying, maybe we shouldn't control everybody as much as we want to, and let everybody make their mistakes. It's how people learn. And we also have our superhero having a kid and that kid being born. So, there's just a lot of good humor. It's a well-balanced book. It always is a fun read with a lot to say. And I love the book. I'll be sad for the hiatus, but it's always great.
Good. Glad you liked it. My number 1 is Brant's number 1, and that is Amazing Spider-Man issue 76. I mean, nothing for nothing. For me, this was the best Amazing Spider-Man book, and I read in probably over 50 issues at least.
Really?
At least, yeah, because when you go back to Nick Spencer's run, I mean, he started all this crazy Kindred crap, like really heavily into it, like since issue 40 something, right? So I couldn't tell you the last time I read a story that had good character work in it. And you mentioned it too. Aunt May, Mary Jane, Peter, Ben Reilly, and just all the characters that were in it were done really well. And I thought it was gorgeous artwork. And overall, it's just like, thank God it's just a different direction, something different besides stupid Kindred and all that other nonsense.
I definitely agree with that. And again, it's what you said. It's just character work was so important. I hope they continue to do that.
Yeah. Hopefully, that all these different writers are literally in the same office talking about what they're doing with Spider-Man, and they're not all over the place, right? So, yep, that was my number 1. All right. So with that being said, we have the chopping block. So what's on your chopping block there, Kat?
Mine is Clear issue 1. That's the Scott Snyder Comixology book. Either way, again, I wasn't going to continue to read past issue 1 for the digitals, but I wanted to see, like, okay, where am I going to get the physical books? Like, if I enjoyed this, maybe I'll get a physical and it's a good test run. I didn't really like this one. I love Francis Manifold, and I like Scott Snyder too. So it's definitely disappointing not to enjoy this one. It felt it changed the structure so much of a comic that it was hard to get through. So yeah, probably gonna skip this one. I'm reading one more. That's the next tomorrow's issue. They got one more Scott Snyder book, so I'll read that. And then so far I've only liked that first one where I'm like, okay, maybe when that comes out from Dark Horse, I'll see where that goes.
Gotcha. All right, and then we have, it looks like Brant is dropping X-Force. Like, I'm surprised he held on to it that long.
Yeah.
Like, I even dropped it quite a while back. Ever since it's been dealing with plants and stuff, I was like, that's it. I'm done with it. And then he also is possibly dropping X-Men. I can see that after this issue, but I can honestly say why he's only doing half, because this was kind of a filler issue celebrating Halloween and whatnot. So we're going to see now, hopefully we get one of these villains here progress the plot a little bit more, so we'll see what happens there.
Brant says he has not been holding on to it. He dropped it again.
That's funny. All right. And then we go on to our most anticipated comics. So we're all anticipating Nightwing issue 85, even though it's not dealing with the main story of what's going on. It's dealing with the Fear State tie-in, but we always like the way Tom Taylor writes his books, right?
And Barbara is back in action, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Next, we have Fantastic Four issue 37. I feel like this book also is going to be a little bit of a filler because it has to deal with Halloween, and it looks like the family is going out on the Yancey Street collecting candy. Hopefully what we see maybe is a little bit of a horrific tone with Johnny down there in the basement. That's what I'm hoping to see.
Yeah, because I think he's on the cover doing some, trick-or-treating. So I'm curious if they're going to relate anything to him. I love that last issue. I think we all picked that as pick of the week when that came out. So even if this is a filler, I don't mind because this book has a lot of fun with fillers. So yeah, excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And then we have Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue 4. So all three of us are highly anticipating this one as well. This continues the storyline of basically we had John introducing what's the boy's name?
Jay.
Is it Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay to the family. And then we wound up getting that supervillain dropped on the Kent farm. That's how it last left off there. So, and Superman just had left. So that's the way John gets to, start his life without his dad.
Yeah,
So we'll see how
it
that
was
goes.
an explosive issue for sure. So this is not the issue. This is not going to be the big issue. Next issue will be the big buy issue.
Right.
But yeah, the action was great. I've been really liking this series. So it's honestly one of the books I really look forward to every month. So far, well, knock on wood, we'll see if it continues to be that way. But I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have the first issue. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one. The Death of Doctor Strange issue 2. I'm looking forward to that. Nobody else is here. I want to see
I'm
how
getting it.
Are you?
It. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not anticipating it, but I am getting it.
Gotcha. I want to see how this story continues. Like if we do get a true Doctor Strange, a new one in the future. And then I know definitely I'm the only one getting this one. Gunslinger Spawn issue 1.
You're correct
this
on
is
that.
starting the ongoing adventures of Gunslinger and the next book in the Spawn universe, which I'm totally excited for. Next, we have a book that Kat will definitely recommend. I'm actually picking this up. Catwoman Lonely City issue 1.
I've been hearing really good stuff. I haven't read it yet, but I've only been hearing good things. I love Cliff Chang, love Paper Girls, as you guys know. He's writing and drawing it, so I'm interested in this for sure.
Yeah, this might be pretty good. Then, of course, Brant and I are looking forward to Fight Girls issue 4. Our favorite girls doing battle against monsters and sharks and trying to win this crown. Things really heated up in the last issue. Can't wait to see how this whole thing, comes to a conclusion. I think there's 5 issues of this, I think. So there would be only one more after this one. Great series. Next one is Refrigerator Full of Heads. This is Joe Hill, and is this coming off of a spinoff off of that one series?
It is, but I don't think it's connected. So it's you can read this without reading the previous. So it's Basket Full of Heads, which I freaking loved. So I'm stoked for this. If I'll say I already read this issue. So I'm not going to go into too much, but yeah, that first one's all slasher, This one's all about slashers, and I really enjoyed that first one. So I'm
So I might
this.
pick if I can understand what's going on, then I might pick this one up.
You will. It's completely new reader friendly. I
Okay,
think
cool.
I honestly read it and I'm like, I think Mike would actually really like this. Like in the
Okay.
ending especially, I think you'll enjoy it.
I was hesitant because I was like, I saw a cover with the axe on it, and I'm like, that's from the
Mhm.
previous series, you know, and so that's why I was kind of thrown off by it. All
Yeah, it's
right,
completely new story. Just the same axe.
gotcha. All right, of course, I'm the only one looking forward to this one. This is Gun Honey issue 2. Like I said, yes, the artwork in this book is gorgeous. The cover art is gorgeous, but I feel that the story is pretty good as well. And we're learning about this character and how she's this arms specialist and she deals all these weapons to all these people. Quite interesting story. Very curious to see how issue 2 turns out. And then I have, wow, Brant is looking forward to Ant issue 1. That I'm actually shocked
Interesting.
at. This is an Eric Larson book who bought this property or took this property over. The original writer took years to write like 13 issues of this series.
Wow.
And so Larson finished it off the last volume a couple months ago, and now he's relaunching it with a new number 1. So I'm curious to see what this has to offer. I've read a few issues of the previous volume, and this is his wall crawler. So I think that's kind of cool. So looking forward to it. And then that's all the books that we are anticipating. So what do we got here? I got a question here from JT Gamer. It says Comic Corner 2.0 with epic collection of volume 6 of Amazing Spider-Man. Should I do a run of Amazing Fantasy 15 to Amazing 123? Is that what it covers? And that's why I'm kind of confused on the question. So I'm not sure.
Get what your heart desires.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to learn about Spider-Man and you want to read those early issues, then yeah, go ahead and go for it. But they have a ton of epic collections though for Spider-Man. So whatever you want to read, you pick it up. So that's all I can say about that. That's for sure. All right. What else do we have here? We
I think
got
Brand answered your question about Ant. He said that he read the original and he was curious about where it would go.
Oh, okay. That's cool that he read the original. That's pretty neat. Then Kit Kat Sneak Attack says someday the readers of today will become the writers and editors of tomorrow, and then maybe they'll restore the marriage.
You never know, right?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. That is true right there. And then we have Architectural Foam Panels and Columns. That's a long name. Larson's enthusiasm for comics and the fact that he's still writing and drawing Savage Dragon, even though I rarely pick it up, is so heartening. Tell me about it, man. And again, that book is not breaking, anybody's wallets. It's not worth anything. It's like not everyone's reading it. I think it's just cool that I feel like he has this passion for the book and he still wants to
Fan
write
base,
it,
I guess.
and it's real time. That's what's crazy about that book. So
No.
very, very interesting. All right. So Savage Dragon's pretty funny. Larson's dialogue is second to only Terry Moore's.
Terry Moore's dialogue is chef kiss for sure.
Right. All right. So with that being said, Kat, you have anything else that you want to say before we close out?
Just I shared it in the chat already. Check out the Kickstarter. We are gearing very close to $6,000. We're at 5,819, 204 backers in 2 days. So thank you guys for everyone who supported already. So also I'll be in Baltimore this week. So if you are going to Baltimore Comic-Con, I will be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday selling By Visibility, The Dancer, Like Father, Like Daughter, trading cards, I don't know what else we're selling. We're selling boxes, buy boxes. So we like mystery boxes we'll have there. So we're gonna have a lot of cool stuff. We also have a question here before we go. Another $5 super chat. Thank you. Are there aspects of Ahmad's Miss Marvel that you liked? For me, I liked the fight scenes and the new villains like Deathbringer and Monopoly. I liked that. I remember the friends were utilized more than I thought they would be, but I don't really remember an issue that I particularly enjoyed from that run.
I did not read very much of that run at all. I think I read the first couple issues, right, where her parents were like these alien, they melted away. Like I remember that, you know, and I was like, what's happening here? It was like completely different from what we read in those first volumes.
I remember there was an issue with Zoe, Nakia, and Miss Marvel when they teamed up. That was a good issue. So that was my compliment.
All right. So pretty cool. And we got this from John says, if you come to Cali, I'll buy a sketch from you.
You definitely don't want a sketch from me, but you can buy my books that I write. I go to California every once in a while. Definitely, love to do San Diego. I've been going as press for a long time, so maybe thoughts and plans to maybe just do a table next year. So we'll see. Yeah. So you never know.
All right. And you have anything coming out for your YouTube channel, Kat?
Yeah, tomorrow I'll have the comic book reviews, so as I always do, and then Young Justice I'm covering. So if you enjoy my commentary on that, go check out my Young Justice videos.
All right. And then tomorrow, guys, for me, I'm going to have my 498th comic book haul. I'm only a couple away now from 500. Stay tuned for that one coming in a couple of weeks. Can't wait for that. It's hard to believe, guys. When you do 500 comic book hauls, that takes 10 years to do that.
It's crazy.
That is 10 years of that, going to the shop, buying comics, and putting it on YouTube. A lot of sitcoms don't even do that for 10 years. So think about how much effort goes into that, but it's so much fun bringing it to you. And also, I did a video on Sunday about 10 comic books that I thought were going to make me rich when I was younger. And it's a great video. I've gotten a great response from it, from everybody who's watched it so far. So go ahead and check that out if you have not checked it out yet. And with that being said, guys, I think we're going to sign off for the evening. So I want to thank you guys all. I got one more thing here from JT Kamer. Just says, Comic Book Corner 2.0. Have Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1 covers. And Fantasy 15, 2 Amazing Spider-Man 38 Epic Collection number 3, 4, 5, and 7. 6 is in the mail. All those cover. Oh, okay. So from Fantasy. That's pretty good. That's awesome. So, yeah, good on that. Congratulations on that. Like I said, if you can't afford it omnibuses and you want to get those Epic Collections, that's perfect, right? And you slowly build that collection. It's much more affordable that way. So, and Brand says, I watched that video, Mike. I have like 5 copies of Polybagged X-Force issue 1. So there you have it. All right, guys. So we're going to sign off for the evening. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, guys, if you liked our stream, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Follow us on social media, guys, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that great stuff. And don't forget to hit the bell for notifications, guys. So as always, keep buying, keep collecting, keep reading those comic books. We'll see you next week. And hopefully all 3 of us will be on this show next week. So guys, happy new comic book day. Enjoy those books, and we'll see you next week.